Let's go to the audio sound bites. Here's a montage. We put this together to illustrate the hypocrisy. Obama's calls for sacrifice, interspersed with details of his wife's vacation.
A sacrifice you may not have chose to make, but a sacrifice you were nevertheless called to make.
The First Lady's group is to occupy 60 rooms. A posh hotel, $300 to $6,000 a night.
Making a sacrifice for the next generation.
The First Lady will visit the King and Queen on the taxpayer's dime.
A set of sacrifices from all parties.
The Air Force version of a 757, $146,000 for the round trip.
I'm willing to make some sacrifice because there are people who are going through tough times.
Expenses for Mrs. Obama's staff. That's $95,000 just for Secret Service.
Everybody's going to have to give.
One newspaper called Mrs. Obama Marie Antoinette.
Everybody's going to have some skin in the game.
A little montage there of Obama telling us we all need to sacrifice, we all need to cut back, interspersed with details provided by Cheryl Atkinson of CBS News of the largesse, the luxury, the expenses of the vacation taken by Michelle My Belle Obama. You want to hear that again? Want to hear that again? It does resonate, does it not? I mean, it does permeate out there. It cuts through all the fog. Much like our similarly produced montage with Bob Torselli. Okay, play it again. Sacrifice for you. Trips to... Oh, and have you heard Lynn Sweet, the formerly respectable Lynn Sweet of the Chicago Sun-Times, or Chicago Trip, whatever she blogs for, said the real reason for the trip was that one of Michelle's friends was in pain. One of Michelle's friends was really suffering, and Michelle had promised to spend some time with one of her friends. There's really some emotional disorders, emotional dysfunction, some very upsetting things happen in Michelle's friend's life, and Michelle had promised to spend some time. That's what Lynn Sweet, Chicago Sun-Times, said. That's the real reason for the trip to Spain with 40 people. And a bunch of Secret Service people, and 60 rooms, because he had a friend that's in the dumps, depressed, got the blues, down and out. So while Michelle was ministering to her depressed buddy in Spain, Obama has been demanding and asking of sacrifice from you.
A sacrifice you may not have chose to make, but a sacrifice you were nevertheless called to make.
The First Lady's group is to occupy 60 rooms. A posh hotel, $300 to $6,000 a night.
Making a sacrifice for the next generation.
The First Lady will visit the King and Queen on the taxpayer's dime.
A set of sacrifices from all parties.
The Air Force version of a 757, $146,000 for the round trip.
I'm willing to make some sacrifice because there are people who are going through tough times.
Expenses for Mrs. Obama's staff. That's $95,000 just for Secret Service.
Everybody's going to have to give.
One newspaper called Mrs. Obama Marie Antoinette.
Everybody's going to have some skin in the game.
That's Obama telling you to sacrifice, give it up for America while his wife is in Spain. Now, the woman in question here, her gynecologist's father had died. And so she had to spend some time with Michelle. Her father's gynecologist died. Now, are women really that close? I wouldn't know, I have to ask. Are women really that close to their gynecologists that when your gynecologist's father dies, you need a vacation in Spain? Her friend, who is the wife of the head of Obama's campaign fund and the gynecologist who delivered Michelle's daughter, her father died early in July. And she was depressed and distressed. And so she had to go to Spain with 60 other people. Well, 40 other people in 60 rooms because her father's gynecologist passed, a gynecologist who delivered Michelle's daughter. Now, you compare. We have a name for Michelle. Moochelle. Moochelle Obama. That'll tick them off, won't it, Snurdly? Michelle Obama. You compare her with the hated Sarah Palin. Michelle Obama keeps a personal staff of 24. Now we know why. To administer to friends whose father's gynecologist passed away. Her personal staff includes a makeup artist and a hairstylist. A total annual government salary of more than $1.6 million for the personal staff of Michelle Obama, plus their travel expenses. Her Secret Service for security is extra on these trips. Now, you compare and contrast that with the hates and the ridicule that is thrown at Sarah Palin, who did what? She sold the governor's jet. She dismissed the governor's cook. She prepared her own meals. She returned the governor's automobile and drove her own car. She dismissed the governor's security staff and knows how to use her own gun. So Michelle's gynecologist, her friend's father died. Her friend is the gynecologist. I'm sorry, her friend is the gynecologist. And the father of the gynecologist passed away. And so that needed to go to Spain to sort it all out. Now, by the way, folks, this new explanation from Lynn Sweet, Chicago Sun-Times, that Michelle's friend's father died. The gynecologist's father died. And she needed to spend time with Michelle. That's coming from one anonymous source. One anonymous source told Lynn Sweet, and now the rest of the media is running with this because they know. They know that this does not look good. You want to hear the sound bites? The optics. The optics. The optics. That's a word that every one of these media people use. The optics don't look good. It's not the optics. It's the substance, you people. Remember, Bush would go to vacation in Crawford, Texas, to a shack. Bush's house in Crawford, 1,300 square feet. It's a shack. And he'd go down there. What would he do? He'd ride a bike through the woods and he would chop wood. And the media gave him only hell for taking all these vacations. Obama's taken more vacations in a year and a half than Bush took in 4 years in terms of total days and hours. And a lot of Bush's vacations were to his house in Crawford, Texas. The media was just bored being out in the sticks of Texas. Texas is a foreign country to him anyway. Then they had to go down there and cover that. And when Bush did let him on, he made them ride bikes with him, showing how out of shape they are. But the optics are very, very bad. We never heard this explanation before for Michelle Obama when the trip was brought up to Robert Gibbs or David Axelrod. All last week, the week before, when at the White House briefing, why is Michelle doing this? Why is the family split up on his birthday? We didn't hear. Well, Michelle's gynecologist's father died in July. That's another thing. Michelle's gynecologist's father passed away in July. And the gynecologist said, gosh, I need to spend time with Michelle. Okay, guess what? Let's call Spain. Let's see if we can get 60 rooms in Marbella. We'll put this trip together on the fly. Folks, it just doesn't wash out there. Here is media mantra on the optics of Michelle's trip being bad.
The optics of this trip are not good.
Democrats are a little worried about the optics.
The optics of this trip.
Democrats just don't like the optics.
The White House should have thought of the optics.
The optics couldn't have been worse.
There's a question of optics.
Worried about optics.
There should be people at the White House who are solely focused on the optics.
In terms of what the optics mean.
The optics are terrible. We're in the middle of a recession.
The bottom line answer is optics matter.
Is the journalist list still going? Are these guys still plotting at another location on how to cover this stuff? I mean, that's from across the political spectrum. You have people on Fox. You have people all over the media using the optics are bad. Why can't they just say, these pictures don't look good? The optics, because they're trying to fool people in Rio Linda. That's why. With midterm elections looming, the White House has started debating how to unleash an untapped political weapon, Michelle Obama. They can't send Barack out there to help Democrats, but her star power is such that she's got great approval ratings. They're going to send Michelle out there to help wavering Democrat candidates.